What's happening, everybody? Happy Valentine's Day. John Hendricks here, coming at you with another episode of The Drive, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook here on Boot Crew Media. Well, the Super Bowl came and went. Now we're officially in the lull period where everything is kind of boring for a while. And for the Saints, obviously the big news that came on Super Bowl Sunday was the fact that Derek Carr was not going to be traded to New Orleans and that he was going to get his release. And so that actually happened on Tuesday, is that he's being released by the Raiders. He's a free agent. Now, just some caveats. He can talk to any team now in between here until he signs with somebody. He does not have to wait until free agency starts or anything like that. So New Orleans is still very much an option for Derek Carr. But we expect other teams to jump in on the bandwagon and to obviously court for his services. It might come down to who has the best offer on the table with the right situation. Look, other teams, the Colts are going to be looking for a quarterback. The Panthers are going to be looking for a quarterback. I mean, there's tons of teams out there. The Jets are another team. There are potential suitors out there for Derek Carr. And so it'll be interesting to see what kind of visits come together here in the next couple of weeks. Everything we understand, the Saints are still a team that's on the radar. So it's not like Carr said no and is basically said, no, you got to go find someone else. So it still remains an option for New Orleans. But obviously from last night, one of the more interesting things that came up was from Albert Breer of SI talking about Baker Mayfield possibly being optioned, talking about the pre-draft process, pre-evaluations and such that the Saints did and had really liked him back then. And, sometimes it's not surprising to see teams down the road take a chance on some of these players that they had really high evaluations on, later in their career and such. And so, look, you talk about Derek Carr on one hand, and then you talk about Baker Mayfield. Now, Mayfield hasn't had a great career, right? I mean, he was a highly touted prospect in college, obviously did a lot of good things, thought they were going to change the fortune for the Browns, had some bad dust-ups and stuff with Odell Beckham Jr., just all these things. And then he gets traded to Carolina. They didn't really do anything with him there. Gets released, picks up the Rams, wins on Thursday Night Football. So the curious case of Baker Mayfield, look, should the Saints look at him? If you tell me that Baker Mayfield would be the starting quarterback for the Saints in 2023, that's kind of a little bit hard to believe. It's just because this is a team that's looking to try to stay competitive. Now, I'm not saying Baker Mayfield's career shot, but if you're pursuing somebody like Derek Carr, last year you went all in kind of on the Deshaun Watson thing. Now you have a chance possibly to get Aaron Rodgers. It depends on what happens after his little hiatus. And then, maybe Lamar Jackson becomes available. But so there's a bunch of options out there. Would Mayfield be the best one for the Saints? I don't think so. If that's it, between the option of that and just going to the draft and getting somebody like Hendon Hooker, or, maybe trying to be aggressive and trying to get one of the top guys, I'm more and more on board for that. You've seen the rookie quarterbacks and building around them. We've talked about it here on this program. Just the simple fact that you get to play with house money. You take somebody at 29, you have him for 4 years plus a fifth-year option. I mean, this is somebody you could potentially build around. So I think it's pretty interesting. But, with Derek Carr, obviously there is no sure thing. And if you followed the breadcrumbs, if you've seen the stuff between Carr and the Raiders and how they treated him, it's not surprising that he vetoed and said he wasn't going to get traded. And again, we talked about it, that the Saints don't have to give up compensation for the draft now. And so if he does end up coming to New Orleans, and I think it's going to come down to what the guarantees in the contract are and obviously how much he gets paid. I think for Carr, about to turn 32, I kind of think that you might approach him with a 3-year deal, maybe a 4-year deal with a 4th-year option to try to be your next quarterback. At worst case, some type of 2-year deal with strong type of contract that has guaranteed contract money in it. I think that would be the best play here. But until something else presents itself, Carr seems like the best option. Mayfield could be an option, but we'll have to wait and see how things work down the line. Very interesting, though, that his name comes up. We'll see a lot more, as the Saints are going to have tons of things to address in the offseason to try to be able to compete for the NFC South. And look, they don't need a ton of moves, but you see a team like Carolina making a lot of moves right now. On paper, at least, they are kind of the ones that are taking a major step forward. Saints, sometimes playing and waiting, those types of things can help. But at the same time, they really do need to start having a clearer vision of where they want to go. We still don't really know some of the assistants they've hired, what the actual roles are going to be. So remains to be seen. At any rate, enjoy your Valentine's Day. Enjoy your week. We'll be back here with much more Saints coverage. Again, DraftKings Sportsbook. Use the code BOOT. Don't forget, Pelicans are finally might be getting out of their funk. That's something to pay attention to. Hockey's going on. Baseball will be right around the corner before you know it. Soccer, all those types of things. Just use the promo code BOOT to get your free money. I'm John Hendricks with The Drive. Thanks, guys.